She-Hulk, attorney at law. I was hoping that this was going to be the Daredevil since they're like running out of episodes. So this was in fact the Daredevil episode. And it was good. It was good. I mean, they had a good old-fashioned hallway fight, and Daredevil gave a bunch of dudes business. You gotta like that, man. You gotta like it. If you're into action stuff, if you're into fights, you gotta like it when they give you the action and the fights. And I dig that. They gave me the action, they gave me the fights. They had the superhero versus superhero fight. It's always a misunderstanding. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were the bad guy. It was one of those kind of things. And they have their superhero fight. When you think about She-Hulk versus Daredevil, yeah, it's not really a fight that you would imagine would be a good fight, because if she hits him one time, it's over with. But he's, by God, Daredevil, and he is awful hard to hit. So it was good. They put him in his yellow-armed outfit from the original run in the comic books, which was cool. I don't want to give away all the details. I enjoyed this episode. I just want to talk about a few particular spots. And I enjoyed Daredevil in here. I enjoyed Matt Murdock in here. I'm glad that they gave Mr. Cox his suit back, man. It was a good episode, man. It was a good episode. They talked about a lot of things. They actually even called out a Red Hulk, which was weird, because She-Hulk was like, you know, you kind of expect to see a Hulk here, but maybe red. And I'm like, wow, did they just say that? So, you know, they're telling you, he's coming. He's coming. The Red Hulk, usually played in the comics by Thunderbolt Ross. But unfortunately, since there was a Marvel passing, another Marvel passing, he's not going to play that part. It's actually going to be played by Harrison Ford, who could very well do a good job. I mean, I don't know if he, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, he's a superior actor. But I don't know, I just don't know about him doing a superhero thing, man, or being committed to do more than 1 or 2 movies. I mean, he's like 1,000 years old. So, I mean, he was old when I was a little kid watching Star Wars. You know, he was as old as all of my uncles and everything when I was a kid, and now I'm a full-grown man. He's got to be like a century, you know? So, I don't know, I just don't know if he's going to be doing a lot of movies, but we'll see. So they could bring in the Red Hulk. Also, that one guy, that terrible guy, Todd, he's back again, and he's got some Wakandan property. So that ties into, you know, Wakanda. Oh, what I dig about the Marvel stuff is that they're always acknowledging their other properties. You know what I mean? None of it's really standalone. All of it is like, you know, boop, they talk about this, and boop, they talk about that, and boop, they talk about this. And there's, you know, a character from here shows up there. It's a connected universe, and they do that fairly seamlessly, which is pretty good. Marvel's always been about the stories, man. Unfortunately, DC has always been about, let's make our superheroes more powerful than anybody else. And they are, but the stories are, So Marvel's connecting everything. I dig that. They mentioned Wakanda. He's got Wakandan property, Todd does, who is probably one of the Wrecking Crew. I'm guessing that whole Wrecking Crew, they're probably going to get rid of all of them and bring in the real guys, or they're going to give these guys power amps. That cannot be the actual end of what the Wrecking Crew is going to be in the Marvel Universe. Those guys are not them. But I think he's part of the Wrecking Crew. And he mentioned wrong superhero. He mentioned vibranium being able to pierce, you know, She-Hulk's skin. He asked. And she's like, nah, you got some on you? And he's like, nah. But he does have some on him. and he mentioned it to her. He was probably gauging her reaction to him having it. You know, and the intelligentsia is made of new syringe, and it's got that giant, needle on it. It's probably made out of some stuff that'll pierce her skin. So Red Hulk's on the way, I'm guessing, probably show up, and Captain America New World Order, because he's going to be an intelligentsia property, and intelligentsia is going to be fighting Captain America. So, it starts here. It goes through properties touching properties. I dig that. Speaking of properties touching properties, in the comics, She-Hulk is pretty promiscuous. She's got a lot of partners. Not so many that you'd be like, oh wow, that's terrible. Well, some people are saying that already, but enough that you'd be like, hey, she's the life of the party. She gets down again in this episode, and you kind of expected it. I kind of expected it. I didn't think they would do it, but they pulled the trigger on it, and that was pretty cool. This episode is really about her getting her new uniforms, because she's got one, but she'll need more. The dude that makes her uniforms for her superhero outfits, does most of the superhero outfits apparently, he gets kidnapped. And she's got a conflict of interest in wanting to save him. And Daredevil is opposing her. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a good episode. There's two fight scenes, two pretty good fight scenes. There's a lot of information getting dropped. It's what I said before. She-Hulk really isn't about She-Hulk. She-Hulk is about, let's get some information out there to the viewers. And that's what they've done. They've given us Daredevil. They've given us leads to the intelligentsia. They've hinted about She-Hulk, Mr. Immortal, Wong. Wong's probably dating. They've got a lot of stuff that they put on here. This place, most movies are a slate meal. This is a freaking smorgasbord. You're not looking for a story about She-Hulk. You're not looking for a whole bunch of action. You're looking for information about the next stages of the Marvel Universe, the MCU. She is the jump-off point from where they were to where they're going. And I dig that, man. I dig that. I dig it so much that I got a lot more to talk about, but I got to keep it short. I would give this episode of She-Hulk, and soon the close, we'll be seeing that soon. I think it's going to be a big thing. It's going to be a big surprise. They're going to introduce a lot of villains. I would give this episode of She-Hulk 8 bags of popcorn. 8 bags of popcorn, man, because that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now, if you've seen the video, let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, if you like the content, subscribe, and then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.